But amongst all the furore, and as others retire from the spotlight, one unlikely figure has emerged as the demonstration of how to get royalty really right: the Countess of Wessex. A picture of elegance, she talked movingly about how the passing of Prince Philip left a giant-sized hole in our lives, and how greater interest in her and her husband Prince Edward, sometimes a burden to bear, was all to the good if it increased attention on the causes they championed. It was a far cry from the early days, when both Sophie and her husband were accused of cashing in on their role in the royal family, provoking a good deal of embarrassment and alarm. Ring any bells? And an example of quite how a nice, middle-class girl from the home counties can come to play a crucial role in the royal setup. It is usually Kate Middleton who is praised for that undertaking, but we somehow forgot that Sophie got there first. It was while the ex-ski rep was working at Capital Radio in the late 1980s that she first met Prince Edward, but it was not until 1993 that the two became an item, becoming engaged 6 years later, by which time she was in PR. The two married at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle in 1999, and embarked on public life, with their first overseas tour the following year to Canada. But, unfortunately, they maintained a private business life as well. Edward ran a television production company, Ardent Productions, which ran into all sorts of controversies, especially when it emerged that his was the only media outlet to be following his nephew Prince William at the University of St Andrews. He stepped down in 2002. Meanwhile, Sophie was struggling. Her early fashion choices were unfortunate, exemplified by pictures of her leaving the office in a clunky blazer and ill-fitting trews, which did nothing for her figure. Worse still, however, were suggestions that she was using her status as Edward's wife to boost her business, which came to a head when she was subjected to a newspaper sting. Huge embarrassment ensued when she gave her less than flattering opinion on various political figures. Like Edward, shortly afterwards she stepped down from her business role and now devotes herself to public life. But as Sophie herself once admitted, the transition was not always easy. "Certainly it took me a while to find my feet," she later said. "The frustration was I had to reduce my expectations of what I could actually do. I couldn't turn up at a charity and go, 'Right, I think you should be doing this,' because that's what I was used to doing in my working life. I had to take a really big step back and go, okay, they want you to be the icing on the cake, the person to come in to thank their volunteers and funders, not necessarily to tell them how to run their communications plan." But the transformation had begun, and with it a full family life. Sophie engendered considerable sympathy in 2003 when her daughter Lady Louise was born prematurely, and mother and baby were at risk for a while. Her son James, Viscount Severn, was born in 2007. By then, Sophie was showing herself to be a full and committed member of the royal family, undertaking public duties with minimum fuss, not drawing attention to herself and becoming increasingly close to the Queen. Had by that time lost the two most important women in her life, her mother and her sister, and by the time of Philip's death, Sophie was described as being like another daughter, and a tremendous source of comfort to the Queen. She has clearly been an immensely stable influence on Prince Edward, too. In his own early years, he often came across as unsure and miserable, seemingly forced into a career that didn't suit him, the Royal Marines, and unable to succeed in the one that he wanted, the theatre. But with the loss of the Sussexes, and the enforced retirement of Prince Andrew, the two are increasingly important members of the royal family. Sophie has stepped into the limelight with aplomb. As she has developed as a character, so her sense of style has followed suit. Long gone are the chunky shapes of old, to be replaced with an increasingly sleek wardrobe, befitting her role as a senior royal. Just a few days ago she was pictured in an elegant floral skirt and feathered hat at Royal Ascot. Last year, on a royal visit to Sierra Leone, she looked sophisticated but comfortable when she addressed a reception at the British High Commissioner's residence. In March 2020, all eyes in Westminster Abbey were on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, attending the Commonwealth Day service as their last official engagement before quitting royal life. Which is a real pity, because Sophie looks stunning in a fitted white dress shot through with a dramatic black panel. Later that year she was the picture of casual elegance in sage green trousers and a cream coat, her long hair tied back in a ponytail, during a visit to Vauxhall City Farm. Quite simply, Sophie looks relaxed in her role these days and, given the rocky start she had, that surely bodes well for the future. Edward and Sophie know they are extremely unlikely ever to edge nearer the throne. But the Windsors need and rely on couples like them. Solid, dutiful, and in the case of Sophie, very chic. Understated royal elegance is notoriously hard to master. Becoming a confidant of the Queen can be trickier still, with all the jealousy it attracts. But Sophie has accomplished both. The only way is Wessex, indeed.